going great. First of all, I'd like to thank Cormina for hosting this event today, and also we're going to be having a post party tonight after the end of an exciting day. I really want to thank all of you, my supporters, my families in the back row, my friends and neighbors for coming today. Many years ago, when I moved to Saline, I was raising a family and working part-time. I had a neighbor come to my door with a petition to run for re-election. And at the time, about a couple weeks before that, there was an article in the local paper about a $1 million challenge grant to build a rec center in the city of Saline. And I told my neighbor that I thought it was a really great project, and if there's anything to do to help, I would be happy to help. Well, within a couple of days, I got a phone call from him, and our mayor at the time, Mark Hopper, who's here today, sort of started me out on this great adventure because they asked me to get involved with fundraising for that rec center. So my family, I was raised with a very strong ethic of public service, specifically in a military background. And when I was taught that when I'm asked to serve, I serve. And it was especially easy on this project because I believed in it. And not only was I fortunate enough to volunteer to help, but I was honored to have the opportunity to chair the fundraising committee. We meet a lot of really wonderful people, some of whom are here today, to work on raising the money for the Saline Rec Center. And now we have a rec center in Saline where we get to have our friends and neighbors and families come together. And I look at my service of 14 years as the Saline mayor in the same vein. I've been very fortunate to work with a lot of really talented, wonderful people in the Saline community who are very interested in maintaining and growing the quality of the community. We were able to maintain a balanced budget. We were actually ranked top 100 small city 3 times in a row in the country while I was in service as mayor of Saline. And most importantly, we were able to make significant investments in the community and in the schools due to a lot of citizen outreach and citizen activism. So 3 years ago, actually in this same building, but downstairs, I announced that I was running to represent my community in Michigan House. And I ran for the same reasons that I volunteered to help with the rec center and serve as a city council member and serve as mayor. I ran because I believe that our neighbors needed a voice in Lansing, a voice that was working for them, a voice that would be working to represent our communities, our children, and our working families. And most importantly, I believe that our neighbors deserve a voice in Lansing that was working for solutions and not partisan arguments. So I stand here today to announce that I'm running to represent our community in Washington as a candidate for the Michigan 7th Congressional District. Thanks a lot. It's pretty funny because the first time I went to Washington, I was fresh out of college with about $200 in my pocket that my parents gave me when I left home. And so I pretty quickly looked for a job, and I got a job in an accounting department in a firm and started working on my CPA. But within a couple months, I realized that I wasn't making enough money to pay my bills, and I needed a flexible job at night. So I ended up driving a taxi cab in Washington, and that was quite an experience. But you know, my dad was an entrepreneur and inventor, and we had a lot of lean times when I was growing up. My mom, in those lean times, was selling real estate to make ends meet. And most importantly, they taught me the importance of hard work and sacrifice in achieving the American dream. So today, in this room, I know that we all have a unique Michigan vision of the American dream. And that vision is one of welcoming, vibrant communities, world-class public schools, homegrown Michigan businesses creating great jobs for homegrown Michigan talent, based in a state with unique beauty and natural resources. We are the people who believe in the power of our uniquely American promise, equality of opportunity. Yet this promise has gone unfulfilled for way too long for the people that live in Michigan. I've been proud to lead the fight in Lansing against the senseless and short-sighted cuts to public education. I've introduced legislation to address equal pay for equal work. And I continue to find bipartisan solutions to provide broadband access to our rural homes and families. But there's more work that needs to be done. For those families that have seen their Michigan dream torn down, let's help them rebuild it. And for those Michigan families who have built with hard work and determination their own Michigan dream, let's help them protect them. I'm really excited to take this message around the district and talk to voters and reach out for their support as we work to take our Michigan values to Washington and rebuild our Michigan dream.
Yeah, I'd like to, we're just past November in the last election. In that election, Pam Burns only gained 41% of the vote in the 7th District. What are you going to do differently to defeat Walbrook? He seems to be hanging in there with only the one shower term in there to disrupt that.
Well, I believe that the voters in this district are looking for people with a track record of solving problems in a local level, which I've done as mayor and I continue to do as state representative. I also have a very strong belief in grassroots, and I am a hard worker. So I do believe that this is absolutely a winnable seat, and I put together a really strong team, and I'm really excited about bringing the message to the voters, and I expect that it will resonate very well.
There's been a lot of concern, a lot of apathy, I should say, among voters saying Democrats, Republicans, they're all the same. How are you going to distinguish yourself as the Democratic candidate?
I am a hard worker and I'm a problem solver. And I've worked in a bipartisan, actually nonpartisan manner for many, many years locally. And I believe in the power of the local voice. And I will work for my people. And it's partisan because it's partisan, but at the end of the day, I believe in representing the people in my district. And that's what I've done in the 52nd, and I will continue to do in the 7th.
At what point did you decide that this was what you wanted to do?
Pretty recently. I actually started back at graduate school because with Saline, with its term limits in Michigan, there's a 4-year window, and I love public policy and helping people. So I started back at University of Michigan and got accepted at the Ford School right before I ran in 2012, and so I started back in the fall. And I was pretty disappointed as a Democrat with the election in the fall, and was trying to identify ways that we can move the needle on the values that I believe resonate in our district. And this is a way to do it. And I'm a hard worker, and I think we will be successful when we get the message out and explain to them what we're all about. Any other questions?
Right, yes, Austin Smith from Washington now. As it was mentioned, we just had an election in November, so why now? Why the announcement now?
Well, I'm a legislator right now first, and I have a lot of work to do there. So obviously that takes a lot of time. And I have a lot of work to do to reach out to a much greater geographic area and talk to voters. So the more time you have to do the work, the easier it is to do a good job in both areas. And I take both jobs very seriously once I make a commitment to do them. I'm not going to be, being less of a legislator by running on the 7th Congressional. So I wanted to make sure there was good balance there. That takes time. Any other questions?
Okay, great. Well, we'll open it up now for one-on-one chats with the representative. And thank you all so very much for being here. We really appreciate your support.